Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Wednesday, February 12th, 2020. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's college basketball games and look ahead to tonight's slate, same with the NBA and the NHL. Preview tonight's episode of The Masked Singer, Season 3, Episode 3, and my best bets of the day. All right, we'll start in college basketball, go over the scores, look ahead and pick tonight's games of significance. So, without further ado, here we go. Number 13, Penn State over Purdue, 88-76. Number 12, Kentucky over Vandy, 78-64. Ole Miss over Mississippi State, 83-58. Davidson over Fordham, 79-49. Akron over Bowling Green, 74-59. Toledo over Miami of Ohio, 65-57. Eastern Michigan over Central Michigan, 73-70. Ohio over Western Michigan, 73-61. St. Bonaventure over St. Joe, 74-56. Tennessee over Arkansas, 82-61. NC State over Syracuse, 79-74. Ball State over Northern Illinois, 63-59. Number 6, Dayton over Rhode Island, 81-67. Wake Forest over North Carolina, 74-57. Number 9, Maryland over Nebraska, 72-70. Michigan State over number 22 Illinois, 70-69. That was an instance where Michigan State won, but Illinois covered. Number 25 LSU over Missouri, 82-78. Boise State over Air Force, 74-57. Virginia over Notre Dame, 50-49 in overtime. Oklahoma State over Kansas State, 64-59. Utah State over Colorado State, 75-72. And number 4 San Diego State over New Mexico, 82-59. Tonight's slate. 6:30, Fox Sports 1, number 23 Creighton at Seton Hall. Seton Hall is a 6-point favorite. I have it Seton Hall by 6 as well. So, my new thing is when my line matches the line on ESPN app, I call it to gunpoint. Who do you take? At gunpoint, I take the -6. So, I'll just pick it straight up. Seton Hall will win straight up. I think that at gunpoint, Seton Hall will cover, but I expect it to be close. CBS Sports Network, Xavier at number 19, Butler. I have Butler -5, and ESPN has it at 5.5. So, a half-point off. So, off to a good start with my numbers versus their numbers. I'm going to take the 5.5 and say that Xavier is competitive with Butler and has a chance to win this outright. I don't think they will, but I wouldn't put it past them. They did beat Seton Hall a few weeks ago on a Saturday, so I would not put it past Xavier to get this one. And plus, Seton Hall's better than Butler. SEC Network, South Carolina at Georgia. Georgia's a 2.5-point home favorite. I have South Carolina by 2. I think that is just too much Anthony Edwards love. So give me South Carolina plus a 2.5. I think they're going to win the game outright. The best game of the night is somehow not on television. I think ESPN has a lot of explaining to do with this. I don't know why this isn't on at least ESPN2. I know they like to promote good teams on the ESPN Plus app, but some people don't have it. But it is what it is. Kansas, who's number 3, at number 14, West Virginia. 7 o'clock ESPN Plus. West Virginia is a 2-point favorite. My numbers say Kansas by 1. At gunpoint, I think West Virginia is going to win the game. But I could see a world where they win by 2. So I'm going to say Kansas plus 2, but I think West Virginia might actually win. They're favored. They were getting a 1.5 yesterday, and then it flipped overnight. And now West Virginia's favored. Well, West Virginia always has the habit of beating Kansas at home, so I guess people are judging it on past history. I would take Kansas plus the 2 according to my numbers, but at gunpoint, I think West Virginia is probably going to win the game. So, 7 o'clock on ESPN2. Auburn, who's number 11 in the nation, hosts Alabama. Auburn's a 7.5-point favorite. I have it at 11.5. I'm going to lay with Auburn. Revenge spot for Auburn. They lost to Alabama earlier in conference play, so that was their first loss of the season. So revenge spot here. So give me Auburn -7.5. I think they might win this by double digits. ESPN News, UConn at SMU. SMU's favored by 4.5. I have it SMU by 7.5. That's a lot. So I'm going to lay it with SMU. Yes, UConn's playing better, but I still don't believe this UConn team. So give me SMU minus the points, although I think it'll be competitive. ESPNU, George Mason at VCU. VCU is a 14.5-point favorite, and that's what I have it at too. So at gunpoint, I'm going to say that VCU wins and they cover, but I don't feel good about it, obviously. ESPN Plus, Richmond at LaSalle. Richmond's a 4.5-point road favorite. I have it at 9.5. That's a big discrepancy, so give me Richmond minus the points. Albany at Hartford is a interesting game in the America East Conference, but we really don't pick that game. Loyola, Maryland at American. Lafayette at Army. Bucknell at Navy. Holy Cross at Lehigh. 7 o'clock Big Ten Network. Rutgers at Ohio State. Ohio State's giving 5.5. I actually have Rutgers by 1. I think Rutgers covers. I give them a shot to win this game outright. So give me Rutgers plus the 5.5. I think Ohio State and Purdue are grossly overvalued teams, and I think Rutgers continues to be undervalued. I don't think they covered against Maryland the other day, but Maryland's good. Like, Maryland is so much better than Ohio State. Ohio State's overrated because they won that game at Carolina, and that was obviously before we knew how Carolina's season was going to go. And they won all those other non-con games that got everybody excited. So I think Ohio State is super grossly overvalued, just like Purdue, just like Indiana, just like a couple other teams in that conference. Michigan as well in some points. So give me Rutgers plus the points. I think Rutgers is undervalued. I think Rutgers, Penn State, and Maryland are the 3 most undervalued teams in the Big Ten right now in terms of a against the spread. The Citadel at East Tennessee State. Western Carolina at UNC Greensboro is an interesting game. UNC Greensboro is an 11.5-point favorite. I have it 6.5, so give me West Carolina and the points. These two teams are combined 34-14 in the SoCon. Region at Towson, Stony Brook at Binghamton, VMI at Chattanooga, Mercer at Wofford, Boston College at Miami. Miami's a 4-point home favorite. I make this Boston College actually favored by a half point, so give me BC. Will they win the game? Maybe, maybe not. I just think Miami is a little overvalued at the spot at home in a matchup where I think these two teams are pretty even. And BC has exceeded my expectations this year, especially in conference play. Like giving Duke a game, nearly upsetting them. And they obviously beat Carolina, but there was the game Cole Anthony came back in and they got lucky in that one. But anyway, I think that these two teams are closer to even than given credit for. So give me BC plus the 4. Maine at UMass Lowell, New Hampshire at Vermont Canisius at Niagara, Loyola Chicago at Evansville. Loyola Chicago is giving 8.5 on the road, and that's what I have it at too. So at gunpoint, I think Loyola covers, but I don't feel good about it. Furman at Samford, Incarnate Word at Northwestern State. Those are 7:30 games. 8 o'clock, ACC Network. Number 5, Louisville, Georgia Tech. Louisville's a 6-point favorite. I don't get why Louisville's been so undervalued in the market. They were big favorites against Wake, and I had a line bigger than what it gave, but Wake ended up covering that number anyway. Like, I just don't get why Louisville is so undervalued. I think Duke's overvalued, and I think Louisville is undervalued. I think that Louisville is the best team in the ACC, not Duke. So give me Louisville minus 6 against Georgia Tech. Sam Houston City of Southeast Louisiana, Stephen F. Austin at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Indiana State at Bradley. Bradley's a 6-point home favorite. These two teams are combined 30-18 in the Missouri Valley Conference. I have Bradley by 4. I'm taking Indiana State plus the 6. Closer game than the number. I think Bradley will win, though. Drake at Missouri State. Missouri State's a 2-point favorite. Meanwhile, I have Drake favored by a half point, so give me Drake plus the 2. I think Drake wins outright. Illinois State at Northern Iowa. Northern Iowa is a 13-point favorite. I have Northern Iowa by 17.5, so give me Northern Iowa minus the points. Southern Illinois at Valparaiso. Valparaiso's favored by 4. I have the other team favored, Southern Illinois, by 3. So give me Southern Illinois plus the points. I think they win outright at Valpo, although Valpo is a tough out in conference play this season. Western Illinois at South Dakota. Lamar at Nichols. Tulane hosts Temple. Temple's the 3-point road favorite. I have this as a pick'em, so give me Tulane at home plus the 3. I think they win outright. Eastern Carolina at Tulsa. I have Tulsa by 10, and that's what it is on the app. So, Gunpoint, who do you take? I like how Tulsa's playing. So, at Gunpoint, I'd lay the points. Don't feel strong about it, though. Omaha at Oral Roberts. New Orleans at Central Arkansas. Middle Tennessee at UAB. 8:30 Fox Sports 1. Number 18 Marquette at number 15 Villanova. Villanova is a 5.5-point favorite. I have Villanova by 3. So I take Marquette plus the points. I give them a shot to win outright, although I think Villanova wins but stays inside the number. Houston Baptist at Abilene Christian. Providence at St. John's on CBS Sports Hour. Providence is favored by 1.5. I have Providence by 1. Tough one. Give me St. John's and the 1.5. But Providence will probably win. 8:30 SEC Network. Florida at Texas A&M. Florida's a 5.5-point road favorite. I have this as a pick'em, so give me Texas A&M plus the 5.5. I think they're live here, and I think that Buzz Williams can really help pull this upset off here. And I think that A&M, that's going to be like A&M's thing as conference plays in its final month here. Number 20, Houston at South Florida, 9 o'clock on ESPNU. Houston's a 5.5-point road favorite. I have Houston by 6, so give me Houston minus the 5.5. Clemson at Pitt on the ACC Network. Pitt's a 3.5-point favorite at home. I have Pitt by 6, so give me Pitt minus the 3.5. Iowa State at Oklahoma on ESPN2. Oklahoma is a 9.5-point home favorite. I have it by 8.5, so give me Iowa State. Although I don't feel good about it because obviously Iowa State just lost Tyrese Halliburton for the season. He's obviously somebody that was supposed to be a lottery pick in the draft. I think that his draft stock's going to hurt because of that. Michigan at Northwestern on the Big Ten Network. Michigan's a 5.5-point favorite. I have Michigan by 5, so I take Northwestern plus the 5.5, but I think Michigan will win. 10 o'clock Nevada at UNLV. UNLV is a 1.5-point favorite. I have UNLV by 1. I think Nevada's the better team, so I take the plus 1.5, but my number is literally close to right on with what the market has. UC Irvine at UC Riverside is a interesting, big West matchup. These two teams are combined 29 and 21. Riverside's been a nice little surprise this year. Irvine's giving 5 on the road. I have it Irvine by a 0.5 point, which is crazy. So give me Riverside to keep this competitive for a little bit. Fresno State at San Jose State. Fresno State's a 6.5-point favorite on the road. I have San Jose State as a 2-point favorite, so give me San Jose State plus the points. And at midnight Eastern, Long Beach State at Miami. Hawaii. Hawaii's a 12-point home favorite. I have Hawaii by 9. So give me Long Beach State getting 12 on the road. Alrighty. Now we'll switch over to the NBA. We're going to go over last night's games and look ahead to tonight's games. I switched up my format for NBA a little bit in terms of my numbers. I did it similar to the college numbers because the NBA one wasn't really working all that much. I've been getting a lot of favorites out of this. And maybe with the new structure I'll be getting a little bit more underdogs and some favorites as well. A mixture of both like I do with the college side. 76ers over the Clippers, 110-103. Big win for Philly. Again, defeating a good team at home. Wizards over the Bulls, 126-114. Pelicans over the Blazers, 138-117. Spurs over the Thunder, 114-106. And the Rockets over the Celtics, 116-105. Tonight, 7 o'clock, Hawks at the Cavaliers. The Pistons at the Magic. 7:30, the Wizards at the Knicks. ESPN, the Bucks at the Pacers. Milwaukee's a 1-point favorite. Oh my God. Unless if Giannis isn't playing, I can't believe that that's the number. Oh wait, Giannis isn't playing, but Milwaukee without Giannis is still a good team. Are they the best team in the NBA without Giannis? No, but they're not a bad team without Giannis. So with Giannis, I'd make this Bucks by 7 on the road. But Giannis, to me, is worth 5 points, so I'd make it Milwaukee by 2. I'm going to go against my formula just for this game. I just think Indiana desperately needs to get off the schneid here a little bit. I think that this line is going to move in the direction of Milwaukee, and then I jump on Indiana. So before, I'm just going to make the prediction that this goes up to 2 or 2.5, and then I jump on the Pacers. I think Giannis is worth 5 points. So give me Indiana +1. I don't feel good about it whatsoever because I'm going against the formula. Raptors at the Nets. Trailblazers at the Grizzlies at 8 o'clock. Hornets at the Timberwolves. 8:30 Kings at the Mavs. 9 o'clock the Heat at the Jazz. The Warriors at the Suns. And 10 o'clock ESPN, the Lakers at the Nuggets. The Lakers are a 3-point road favorite at Denver. Meanwhile, it should be Denver by 1. I'm going to take the Nuggets getting the 3. Big spot for them at home. Lakers won at Denver earlier in the year. I don't think it's easy whatsoever for a Western Conference team to win at Denver twice in the same season. So give me Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets to get a signature home win over the best team in the Western Conference from a record standpoint. So give me the Nuggets +3 to win this game outright at home against the Los Angeles Lakers. Now we'll talk some hockey. We'll go over last night's slate and look ahead to what I don't think is a busy slate tonight. Oh yeah, only 3 games tonight, including, I believe, 2 on national TV. Sabres over the Red Wings 3-2, so a good bounce-back win for the Sabres after losing to the Red Wings earlier in the month. I believe that was a home game, too. Maple Leafs over the Coyotes 3-2 in overtime on a goal by Kasperi Kapanen. The story about this game is that there was a goal that's allowed from a Coyote standpoint at the end of regulation, and it should have counted. So the Coyotes were robbed there pretty much in Toronto against the Leafs. Panthers over the Devils 5-3. Isles over the Flyers 5-3. Lightning over the Penguins 2-1 in overtime on a goal by Yanni Goudreau. Rangers over the Jets 4-1. Wild over the Golden Knights 4-0. Stars over the Hurricanes 4-1. Avs over the Senators 3-0. Oilers over the Blackhawks 5-3. And then Blues Ducks was postponed to a later date due to the unfortunate incident where veteran defenseman Jay Baumeister collapsed on the bench during that game and had to get hospitalized, and then it was diagnosed that he suffered a heart attack. So at least he is doing well, and he'll eventually be okay. But thoughts and prayers to his family and him, obviously, and the Blues. Very tough situation. I think League did the proper thing by postponing the game. That's just very tough to play in those circumstances, obviously. Tonight's slate, 7:30 NBCSN, the Canadiens at the Bruins. On the call of the game, Doc Emrick, Eddie Olczyk, and Brian Boucher. I really don't know, because this is the time of the year where Doc doesn't normally do Wednesday games. He normally just does the games on the big NBC on Sundays, like you saw him doing the Red Wings game with Mike Milbury and Brian Boucher. So I don't know who's on the call this game. I'm going to say the Bruins win this game. They're just better than the Canadiens. Canadiens are in a weird spot. They're like Not really in the race, but they're not the worst team in the world. They could be competitive on any given night. They're like the New York Rangers in that sense. So, give me the Bruins. I think that this probably goes to overtime because I think that the Canadiens will at least get up for this game and play well in a big spot. Flames at the Kings, 10 o'clock NBCSN. On the call this game, I'm going to say it's John Forslund and Pierre Maguire. Don't feel good about that one. I'm going to say that Calgary gets it done on the road. Again, NBCSN keeps showing bad teams. Red Wings get a lot of love. The Kings get a lot of love. For whatever reason, those two teams are bad. Kings are better than Detroit, but, still. Why are the Kings on national TV? I mean, I get it, they have stars, but I think that NBC cares more about the markets and the original six more than they care about teams that are actually good. So, give me the Flames in a spot that I think they have to prove it a little bit and not look ahead. So, give me Calgary on the road. And then 10:30, the Blackhawks at the Canucks. Before we do best bets, I want to talk about The Masked Singer, Season 3, Episode 3 tonight. Should be a fun show. 4 left in Group A. I'm not sure if they knock off 1 or 2 tonight, but they're calling it the Group A Championship. Yeah, they're paired down to the top 3 of the group. So, 1 goes off tonight. We're down to the Kangaroo, Miss Monster, the Turtle, and the Striped Tiger, or whatever that is. White Tiger. I call him the Striped Tiger because he has stripes. As of now, my guesses. White Tiger, I still think it's Rob Gronkowski. And by the way, when I go over this tomorrow, my guesses may have changed from before the show and after the show because obviously you get new clues and sometimes you have different opinions on things and they try to throw you off. So as of right now, my guess for the White Tiger is Rob Gronkowski. The Kangaroo. This one's tough. I really have had a hard time with this one. I won't be surprised if this turns out to be a spouse or a significant other of an NBA player. Ken Jeong's guess of Gabrielle Union was, I think, actually wise. And there is also, boxing gloves, which I thought was interesting. And I was thinking about Ronda Rousey. And she's somebody that has been going through some stuff, and this contestant has obviously hinted at that. I initially thought this was Kelly Rowland the first week, but this could be somebody that I might change my mind on tomorrow. The Turtle. This is obviously somebody from a boy band. My first thought was Kevin Richardson of the Backstreet Boys. Now I think it's AJ McLean of the Backstreet Boys because the vibe I'm getting is that I feel like I hear a little bit of the beginning verse of Everybody by the Backstreet Boys, the "Oh my God, we're back again." And I was thinking, who sings that line? And I realized it was AJ McLean. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go with that. I mean, there's still speculation about Joey McIntyre or even Donnie Wahlberg. Donnie Wahlberg would be the funniest one only because that is obviously the husband of Jenny McCarthy. who's a judge on the show. That'd be hilarious if it was Donnie Wahlberg. But I don't think it's Donnie. I think it's AJ McLean. Or maybe Joey McIntyre. I won't be surprised if it's Joey McIntyre. Won't be surprised if it's even somebody from NSYNC that's not Justin Timberlake. But you never know. Who knows? Maybe it is Justin Timberlake. That'd be kind of funny if it was Justin Timberlake. That would be a huge deal if that was Justin Timberlake. And Turtle's a pretty good singer, too. I was impressed with Turtle a lot. And then the last one, Miss Monster. I think there's a chance Miss Monster gets eliminated tonight. I think the most likely two to get eliminated are the White Tiger and Miss Monster. Miss Monster, I feel like, is somebody that is an African-American singer from these older times, like the 60s, 70s, 80s. I had Tina Turner in my head because I think it sounds like somebody that's in her upper 70s and early 80s-ish. And Tina Turner is in that age range. Another popular speculation guess is Shaka Khan. I've heard Priscilla Presley, Mary Wilson. Another name I've heard that's a possibility in terms of fans is Wanda Sykes. Nicole Scherzinger gets Dionne Warwick. There's been some younger singers that have been guessed, like Mary J. Blige and even Celine Dion, which I think is unrealistic. I'd be surprised because this obviously sounds like somebody that's a little bit older. So my guess of who goes home tonight, I'm going to say it's Miss Monster. I think that the White Tiger, who I think is Gronk, survives another week. I think Miss Monster goes home, and as of right now, I think it's Tina Turner. So we'll look back on this maybe tomorrow or something and see if I'm right. All right. Last but not least, my best bets of the day, brought to you by FanDuel. There's a couple interesting games in both the NBA and in college basketball that I have some edges on. And some of them I have edges on I don't particularly feel great about. So, it's a tough pick here. So college basketball, I'm going to go with my best bet for college basketball tonight. I am going to go with Richmond laying the 4.5 at LaSalle. FanDuel has it at 4.5. I think that Richmond should be close to double digits. I have a 5-point discrepancy here, so give me Richmond minus the 4.5 at LaSalle. NBA best bet. There's a couple of them that I think are interesting. So I'll just go through the lines and what I have as what I project. The Hawks are at the Cavs. I think it should be Cavaliers by 2. I just don't like the Hawks on the road at all. They're a much better team at home, as we saw when they went home and beat the Knicks. And that home crowd was really into it. They play actually somewhat decent at home. And they've beaten some good teams at home, too, like the Sixers. They're competitive a little bit with the Celtics at home. So the Hawks, I don't think, are as good away from home as they are at home. Detroit at Orlando. Orlando's a 7-point favorite. I have it at 7.5, so I think that's kind of right where it should be. Indiana is a 1-point favorite at home against the Bucks. So, that line's going in Indiana's direction. So I would have to still take a look at the Bucks, but I still wouldn't feel good about that because of Giannis, and that's just a stay away for me. Raptors are 3.5 at Brooklyn. I would make Toronto an 11-point road favorite at Brooklyn, so that is a pretty big discrepancy there. There must be some injuries on Toronto that I don't know about. Wizards at the Knicks. The Knicks are a 3-point home favorite. I would make this a pick'em. So I think that the market's overvaluing the Knicks a little bit here at home. Even though they play better at home than road too, especially against the bad teams. Charlotte, Minnesota. This is a big discrepancy here. I make this Wolves by 2.5, and it's 8.5. I think that's because of the addition of D'Angelo Russell that they're now overvalued in the market against another bad team here with Charlotte coming to town. Sacramento at Dallas. Luka's back. So the Mavs are minus 8.5, and I think it should be like 7.5, because I have it at 4.5 on a neutral, so 7.5. So I feel like I'm getting a point of value with Sacramento. Golden State at Phoenix. Phoenix is minus 7 at home. I would make this Phoenix by 9, so 2 points off. Miami at the Jazz. Jazz is 4.5 at home against Miami. These two teams in my mind are even, so I'd make this Jazz by 3. And then Lakers at the Nuggets, it's Lakers by 2.5. I'd make this Nuggets by 1. So for the best bet, then I'm going to go with the Raptors at Brooklyn minus the 3.5. I just think that the Raptors are so much better than Brooklyn. Brooklyn, yes, they're coming off that win against Indiana. But Indiana's just in a funk. Like, it's just weird. Like, that Indiana is in such, like, a major, major funk right now. Indiana is just beatable. Like, the Knicks beat them in recently, so I really, don't get that one. Actually, no, I screwed that up. I would make it Raptors by 11 at Toronto. I said I'd make this Raptors by 11 in Brooklyn. That was my mistake. I thought Toronto was home for a second when I was initially going through the slate in the NBA segment. I would make this actually Raptors by 5. So this is a 1.5 off. So I'd still make Toronto my best pick. Don't feel great about it. I think I could have gone with the Cavs. I could have gone with the Wizards. But I don't trust bad teams. I could have gone with Charlotte, but I really don't trust them either. I could have gone even with the Nuggets, but LeBron James and Anthony Davis are on the other side. So I had options, but I decided to go with the Raptors. Do I feel great about it? No. But I'm going to roll with the Raptors. I think it should be minus 5. I think they'll win by about 5 or 6 points at the Barclays Center. I'll give you that. All right, so that's it for today. I'm going to have Derek on tonight as we will go around the world of sports, talk about the Jay Baumeister situation, the hockey deadline, best NBA trade deadline pickups, the Astros cheating scandal, some NFL offseason stuff, and a lot more. Tomorrow, Jeff Maglicetti is going to come on. We'll talk about some of the stuff I'm going to have to talk about with Derek tonight, and we'll get into college basketball, the XFL, and the WNBA with him. So for the first time in 2020, I'll have guests on my podcast. So that should be fun. And I hope you guys have a great day, everybody.